think he knocks him out. But you know, if Amir can show spots, here's the thing that the key to look for in Amir. Can he show enough discrepancies in Canelo's style to where we see that Canelo hasn't learned a lot yet? You know what I mean? Like, Canelo has the same trouble with the same things all the time. The jab and movement. Amir's going to do that. It's just he can't overly do it because you got to do it for 36 minutes. It's impossible without throwing in some time deflectors in there. And Amir just doesn't have enough time deflectors in there, time killers in there. He's constantly punching and moving. You know, movement and jabs do trouble Canelo. Is he going to be able to catch Amir while Amir is doing that, or is he going to have to wait till Amir wears out? You know, because if Amir doesn't figure out a way to control the pace, he's going to wear himself out.
Now, Canelo's clearly an A side. What do you think for the Gennady-Golovkin fight? Should Gennady-Golovkin bite the bullet, come down to 155, or should it be at the full 160?
See, I don't know, because it's hard to make 155 if you're a 160-pounder, you know? Like, you know, I don't know that Canelo can fight any real middleweights at 155 pounds. Like, I fight at welterweight. I can't fight at 142 pounds. If I can make 142 pounds, I'd be fighting a junior welterweight, you know? So I don't know that you're gonna get any real middleweights with the ability to make 155 pounds. I really question that. So if that's the case, Canelo will always be defending against non-middleweights, even if he has the middleweight title. So we'll see. It's not a matter of if he should or shouldn't. For me, it's a matter of if he even can, if he wants to. You know? They put their own foot in their mouth when they talk. It's unfortunate.
Hunter said that he shouldn't cry because he made promises like that.
Yeah.
Why is he complaining now?
It's 100%, and he's 100% right. You put your foot in your mouth, you got to live with that.
Did he duck Ward? I mean, a lot of people are saying that.
Well, I don't know. It's the questioning of whether he's ducking him or not. You know, it's up for opinion. But you know, Canelo is doing to Golovkin what basically Golovkin is doing to Ward. So as frustrating as it is for Golovkin to not get Canelo, now he knows what Andre felt with him. You know, so it's the same thing. So depending on which side you want to take, it's essentially the same matter of circumstances.
When Canelo said that Golovkin, he needs to fight somebody. He needs to fight somebody that's going to complicate him. He compared his last 10 opponents to Golovkin's last 10 opponents. What do you think about Canelo saying that?
That's bullshit to me, because you can't force guys to fight you. Golovkin hasn't been in with the same caliber of guys as Canelo, because those guys don't want to fight Golovkin. That's it. So you can't put a gun at somebody's head and make them get in the ring. You can't compare the level of opposition when people won't fight you. It's the same thing at welterweight with Kell Brook. You know what I mean? Like, guys just aren't chomping at the bit to get in the ring with Kell Brook. He's that dangerous. You can't knock somebody for being so good that guys won't fight them, and then you say who they fight. Of course, who they fight. Nobody wants to fight them, including you. So how you gonna compare that? You know? So for me, that argument is irrelevant.
Okay, and I got a last question for you. Canelo Triple G, I know the fans, they must talk to all the Golden Boy people. Is that a fight that you want to see, Canelo Triple G?
I think it's a fight that everybody wants to see, and that it's going to happen in its time. Right now, the focus is on Amir Khan. Obviously, you can't take him lightly. And once, you know, that happens, we'll sit down and start seeing, you know, Oscar will begin the negotiations with the other side. But it's a fight that Canelo wants, the fans want. It'll happen. It will happen.
Okay, you guys heard it first from Mr. Diaz. Thank you for your time, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing, and I was born ready. So it looks like Saul Canelo Alvarez, he just finished up a lawsuit. It's actually technically not finished because him and his team stated that they want to dispute or appeal the decision. But as it sits right now, the verdict was ruled that Canelo owes $8.5 million to his ex-promoter, the promoter that brought him to the United States, and claims that Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, they worked together on some joint fights, and all of a sudden Golden Boy kind of snatched Canelo from them and did their own thing, and he became a megastar a few years later, and that's kind of where it's at right now. So that is concluded, at least for the moment, until they go back for the appeal, and you know what I mean, things like that. This whole ordeal has taken 5 years, 5+ years for this lawsuit to kind of even reach that verdict. So you don't know how long the appeal process will take, and there's different ways legally to stall and push things back, different things like that. So I don't really know the details on when the appeal will take place, but as of right now, that's what is the ruling. And now Canelo still needs an opponent for September. As you guys know, Floyd Mayweather, when he retired after fighting Berto, it was announced that Canelo was going to try to take back the quote-unquote Mexican dates because of the popular Mexican holidays or Mexican-American holidays like Cinco de Mayo and also Mexican Independence Day weekend in September. So the plan is to have Canelo fight in September, and he needs a dance partner. I made previous videos. Golden Boy listed a couple of people that he was going to fight or potentially fight, people who are in the Canelo sweepstakes, if you want to call it that. And I kind of dissected them, and Liam Smith seems to be one of the potential leading candidates. The thing, I don't know what has happened, but I've seen a lot of fans recently turning on Canelo. I was actually out with friends, or I was with a girl, basically. We went to a restaurant, and she's in the boxing world too, and all of a sudden the person overheard. He was cleaning tables because the restaurant was getting ready to close. We were outside because it was a nice night, and he overheard us talking about boxing because, again, we're both in the boxing world. And he was like, "Oh, you guys talking about Canelo?" And he was a Mexican busboy or whatever, and he overheard and just kind of jumped in the conversation. And we're like, "Yeah, we talk about boxing, cover boxing, and whatnot." And he was just like, "Yeah, I'm disappointed." He's like, I can't respect Canelo. The way he just gave Triple G his belt, and he started going in on Canelo. That was what he said. I really wish I could record it, but I didn't want to look like a creeper. Like, yeah, let me record this. You know what I mean? Some people don't like to be on camera and stuff. He was at work, and you know what I mean? You know how that goes. So he was going in on Canelo, basically saying he was so disappointed, and his brothers are fans of Canelo, but he can't side with Canelo because he just gave Triple G his belt, and that's not what you do. And then he listed a bunch of, like, obviously the best, like the Chavez Seniors and the Juan Manuel Marquez and Barrera, and he was quoting all those. He's like, they would never have done that. They never would have did that, what Canelo did. And that was his words, but you guys can believe me or not. It doesn't matter because I have a witness, and it is what it is. I don't care. But that's what they said. So Canelo's kind of been in the hot seat because Liam Smith, I told you, if that's the person, he's the least accomplished out of everybody. I don't care. You could be a champion. There's tons of people who are champions, but at the end of the day, it's what have you done? You know what I mean? And it's funny to see boxing fans because I've been doing this for a while, so I get to see the different eras of boxing, or different, not even eras, but just different chapters of boxing because I've been covering it for so long. So I remember comments from last year, the year before, and things like that. And I distinctly remember even fights like Floyd Mayweather versus Robert Guerrero. Robert Guerrero was a champion. He was an interim champion, and people dreaded that fight. Even though Guerrero was the one that called out Floyd Mayweather, he kept calling him out. He had been calling him out for probably about a year. A simple Google search, a YouTube search, and you'll probably be able to find the Robert Guerrero callouts. He beat Selçuk Aydin, who was a big puncher and undefeated at the time, after jumping up 2 weight classes, dealing with his wife and cancer and being on a long layoff. He beat him and later fought Berto. Then he fought Mayweather after he'd been calling him out. And Mayweather was coming out of his little jail stint. And people hated the fight. So my point being, he was a champion and people hated the fight. After Broner got destroyed by Maidana, Maidana was a champion with a great resume, power, bigger than Floyd, would most likely weigh more than Floyd, etc. And he was, most importantly, a champion with some pedigree. We've seen Maidana. He was, at the time he fought Broner, he was on a 3 knockout streak. Josecito Lopez, he fought a bum in Argentina, and then also Jesus Soto Caras. And then he was basically running through Broner for most of that fight, knocked him down twice, gave him his first blemish. Then he fought Floyd, and people still contested it. People still hated the fact. They're like, oh, why is Floyd fighting him? And some of those same fans are now the ones who are saying, oh, but Liam Smith is a champion. It's a champion. But when Floyd was fighting other champions, like Robert Guerrero, who was a champion, or Maidana, Maidana's too slow and flat-footed. Oh, what is Robert Guerrero? That's an easy win. So it's like it's not consistent. First, Robert Guerrero, they say, oh, Floyd, he hates fighting southpaws. He stays away from southpaw. Robert Guerrero's a southpaw, and he was a champion. Again, fast forward to this Canelo situation. Canelo is younger than Floyd was at any of this. You know what I mean? Floyd is 30 plus. Canelo is like 25, right? So he's in his physical prime. He's a young, strong kid. He's a good fighter. And you mean to tell me if Liam Smith is the guy chosen, you think that's a great fight? Again, if this was such a great fight, then why was no one requesting it before Golden Boy mentioned it? Then they also threw out names like Porter Thurman. I don't believe that. When's the last time since the departure of Richard Schaefer and everything that we've seen a Golden Boy fight with Al Heyman, a top Al Heyman fighter? Besides, if it really reminds me of Adrian Broner when he got thrown into the Pacquiao sweepstakes. It was Crawford, Khan, Tim Bradley 3, or allegedly Adrian Broner, according to Michael Kantz. And I knew that was just a gimmick to set up some kind of smokescreen. And then it turned out to be when it was all said and done, Pacquiao ended up fighting the guy that most fans that I seen at that time wanted to see him fight least, which was Tim Bradley a third time when they already thought he beat Bradley. Most people would have preferred Amir Khan. Most people would have preferred Terrence Crawford or Adrian Broner. And Pacquiao didn't pick any of those three guys. He picked Bradley 3. So I honestly, in my honest opinion, I think the Canelo versus, he'll fight Porter is a smokescreen. I don't think they have any intentions of negotiating or fighting Porter, because Porter is in probably the best fighter this year in terms of competitive, and I've seen fans all over the place. A lot of people picking one-time Keith Thurman, a lot of people picking Sean Porter. It's that type of fight, like a 50-50 fight, and it's a meaningful fight to help shape the welterweight division. So one, why would he fight a welterweight? You know what I mean? Have them move up again. You could argue Porter in the amateurs fought at 165, and Keith Thurman actually has a knockout win over Carlos Quintana above 150 pounds. He fought that at a catch weight. It wasn't the full 154, but it was a catch weight, maybe 152, 153. See how I just know my boxing off the top? This is not scripted. But anyway, my point being with the Porter situation is there's no guarantee Porter wins that fight. A lot of people are picking Keith Thurman. He has the top billing, and I believe he's opening up as the favorite. So why would Golden Boys, instead of saying we'll fight the Porter Thurman winner, they said we'll fight Sean Porter? It doesn't sound right. Again, especially since Sean Porter is not guaranteed to win that type of fight because it's a 50-50 fight. And then the other thing, I really don't understand how they're managing Canelo right now with the whole Triple G situation. They keep throwing his name up and, we invited him to the ring. And every time I read articles or hear about Golden Boy, they're saying, Triple G, we're still negotiating. When Canelo said he was vacating, they threw Triple G in it, saying, hey, we still want to make the fight for the fans and this and that. Again, if Canelo fights Triple G next meaning September 2016, I will give him a lot of credit. But in my honest opinion, I do not see that happening this year, especially in September, for a few reasons. One, why would you take away the incentive of the WBC belt when you were the lineal middleweight champion and you just remove that from the equation? So instead of just giving Triple G the belt, you could have fought for the belt, made the best man win, and you would have retained it. It would have been a title defense instead of fighting a welterweight like Amir Khan in a title defense, who's clearly not a middleweight, and you've seen that in the fight. You would have fought a credible middleweight, beat him, and retained your title, or you would have lost your title to him, depending on the outcome of that potential fight, right? So I don't see why you would take away that incentive. Wouldn't that make it much more sweet to have a victory over Triple G? Like, this is the boogeyman y'all was talking about. He tried to take my belt and he couldn't. You know what I mean? That seems like it would be worth it to keep the belt. And it just sounds real like chintzy of an argument. We don't want to wait. We don't want to be rushed because we only have 15 days to negotiate. When you knew this man was your mandatory since December. You knew even before you fought Cotto, because you knew he was Cotto's mandatory. So you knew if you beat Cotto, you knew you would inherit his problems. It's not making sense. Just like some people have a car loan and they can't pay it anymore, so they sell the car and then someone else has to take over payments. That's exactly what happens in boxing. You knew Cotto's mandatory was Gennady Golovkin, so you knew that by beating him, he would become your mandatory. It's very easy. It's very easy to understand. So it's just nothing again, in my honest opinion, I can't see him fighting Golovkin next, so I don't see why they keep throwing, oh yeah, we're still trying to negotiate, we're gonna call Tom, the lawsuit is over. So that's allegedly what they're saying. They're gonna call Tom and try to work something out. But the WBC belt, how that was handled, how he just vacated, doesn't give me confidence. I don't have confidence based on who he fought last, Amir Khan. Amir Khan fights nothing like Gennady Golovkin. To me, Golovkin is a great fighter, but he's slow. He's not really fast. That's not really his bread and butter, being a fast, athletic guy, right? He has power, but he's not that fast, right? He has pretty decent foot speed in terms of cutting off the ring and getting into position. He's pretty light on his feet in that regard, but he's not quick, especially like hand speed. But he packs a punch, right? And Amir Khan has blistering speed, but he doesn't have that much power at 147, let alone jumping up to 55 and not having any other tune-up fights or acclimating to the division. I don't think his power was adequate. You know what I'm saying? Like, could Amir Khan, you have to really ask yourself this, could Amir Khan have fought anyone at 155 and beat him? Top level guys. Like, could he have went in there and beat the Charlos, right? One of the Charlos is like 6 foot tall, right? Could he have went in there and beat Demetrius Andrade? Could he have went in there and beat really any of the top? You know what I mean? Would he even beat a guy like Miguel Cotto, who is not even the biggest junior middle, but would he beat him at 155? You know what I'm saying? I don't really see it, and I don't think he had the power to keep a lot of those guys honest. He's a great boxer, but it is what it is. So based on the selection of opponent, I don't see Golovkin being next, because that doesn't really prime you for a Golovkin fight when you're fighting someone that fights nothing like it. You look at Mayweather, and Mayweather oftentimes fights the types of fights that will gear him for the next fight. Like, you notice who Chris Algieri was, who Pacquiao fought before he fought Mayweather, and then Mayweather fought Maidana, right? So Maidana doesn't necessarily fight exactly like Pacquiao, but he'll gear you up for a tough fight because that's what he is. He's unorthodox, just like Pacquiao's unorthodox. He's more of a pressure fighter than Pacquiao is, etc. He has power, just like Pacquiao has power. It's just they deliver the power different. Pacquiao has more speed behind it and faster feet, things like that. But nonetheless, that type of fight can help prepare you. You look at Sergey Kovalev. Who is he fighting next? Isaac Chilemba, a guy who's mostly defensive, trying to prepare for Andre Ward, someone who's going to be slicker than like a Jean Pascal, slicker than this fighter or that fighter, like a Cleverly again or something. So that's why he's fighting him, to prepare for Andre Ward. He needs to get in there with someone who's tricky and crafty, knows how to survive, hasn't been stopped. Things that apply to Andre Ward, tricky, crafty, hasn't been stopped. You know what I mean? And Canelo, he's the only person that's fighting someone who fights nothing like the most threatening middleweight around right now, which is Gennady Golovkin. So I just don't have the confidence that that fight will happen next. Golden Boy keeps suggesting that this is in fact next, or it's possible. I really don't see it. And if he doesn't fight Golovkin, it's going to look really bad. You just gave that man your belt. Fight a David Lemieux. You know what I mean? You're about the same size as a lot of these guys, the Danny Jacobs, Billy Joe Saunders. If you don't want to fight a middleweight, 154 is stacked, and you're going to have to lose that extra pound if it's a title fight. You know, it's not looking good for Canelo. You have to look at it. For it to be a junior middleweight title fight, has to be 154. So it can't be 155. So if he drags, let's say, a Liam Smith up to 155, that makes no sense, because it could no longer be a junior middleweight title. So literally one of the only reasons a guy like Liam Smith should be selected, or would be selected, I'm not even going to say should, but it would be because he's a champion. That's the only bit of saving grace that you could even use to justify. He's not a household name. You just fought a UK fighter in Amir Khan, so it's not like you just have to channel your UK fan base or something like that. So if you bring him to Canelo weight, then you can't fight for his 154-pound title, which means that fight's really meaningless. You know what I mean? Because you're not even fighting for his belt. So it's going to be interesting to see who Canelo decides to fight next. It's tough competition at 54, and there's killers up at 160. So let me know what you guys think. I just don't see Golovkin being next. Demetrius Andrade looked like a problem. I don't see him being next. That's just my honest opinion. So we'll see what is decided. We have to let the negotiations play out and pan out how they're supposed to. I will keep you guys updated. Drop in the comment section. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.